And here
Are we
we
light?
are.
Are we in the light?
The light has come,
I am
and
the
we are
light.
live.
You are the light.
Indeed.
Indeed, you are listening to a promo pre-show clip for the Canuck and Yankee show, which is coming up on Sunday. And this is the promo clip, so we're going to talk about it a little bit. And we got a few interesting things coming up. We're second installment of our housing series, and this week we're going to be covering some of the problems that are happening, and that'll involve the homeless, people living in substandard housing, the situation with our senior citizens and their housing situation, and situation with the millennials, the younger generation, and the housing challenges that they have. So that should be pretty darn interesting. That's our feature. And then we're going to be talking about a subject that is very close to my heart because I've been in the business since I was 12 years old, and that's the music business, the live performing music business, and also the recording music business. And uh, the Yankee, you got some stuff for us on that,
Yeah,
don't
I want
you?
to
On
go
the
back
Yankee?
to the Napster era, around late 90s to
Right.
2000, and how that drastically changed the recording business
It certainly did.
and up until this day.
Well,
And
it
then,
really powerful dynamic went down with that because back in the early 90s, I ran a recording studio and people come in and they'd spend a fair amount of money recording a CD, but then 9 times out of 10, they sold enough of those CDs to not only pay for the recording session, but they also were able to make some money. And then um, Napster, was that the first one that kind of came along that was doing this internet
well, Napster, yeah, so
download
Napster
thing? And
was just a file sharing program before the
right,
age of BitTorrent and stuff like that. And
right.
people just put large amounts of their music collection on with MP3s mainly.
I
And it
see.
was a really easy program that anyone could use. Just point and click, download all the music you
Take it.
could. There were a bunch of
Yeah.
clones apps that all tried to copy its model. So there
Mm,
was a huge explosion. And then I think a lot of people remember, if they're old enough, obviously
right.
Lars Ulrich.
Yeah.
Uh,
I certainly remember.
Lars Ulrich from Metallica just bursted. His
Oh,
blood
yeah.
vessels and his temples were just bursting. He was just like, "Wow, they're stealing our music, and
Well,
we're
yeah. I mean,
Metallica, and you can't do
everybody's
that."
music.
And he had a huge campaign, and the the record labels, they never really figured out the online distribution model. It never really
No,
caught on for them. They couldn't figure it out. That you
no,
had
but
the digital rights management that came, so that things got very restrictive and for certain record labels, and they
it's a
far too
mess.
protective, and it all just imploded and never
It's
worked.
still a mess, and it all used to be really simple. If you wanted a record, I mean, if you wanted to listen to music, pre-recorded music, you bought the record. It was the album. In the when I was coming of age, we bought the record. It would come out, and then they had cassettes, and then they had, and you could copy cassettes. So that was kind of the start of it, actually, in a way. And then it's just gone. And as soon as the digital age came in, and I think the record companies, maybe they were just trying to ignore that this thing was going to happen, or they just got totally blindsided. Either which way, Napster and whole situation. So that'll be kind of fascinating. Okay, so then we've got some more stuff. We've got the my new hero. Are we going to talk about her
Yeah.
next? The Filipino woman who just won the Nobel Prize for journalism, and she is a well, she's my new hero. And she's been dedicating the last 14 years to exposing the malfeasance in the government of the Philippines, and
Duarte.
Duarte in particular, and his genocide upon in the name of drugs, they're going out and killing anybody they think is a dealer, and they're probably killing some dealers too, but they're just free reign. And also, a clip that I saw that I found interesting was that the Philippines are really, really into their social networking and the manipulation that the leader had used to perpetrate stories and stuff like that. So he's got a very the population is with him with through media manipulation, but she's standing up to it, and she's under 11 counts of criminal counts in the Philippines. But she just won a Nobel Prize, so we're going to be covering her. And you've got some other information. Oh, you got an interview, don't you, with her on it? Talking about Facebook or something.
I got it off getter.com. It's a link off there, and she talks about what we were discussing last week, just the whole fallout with Facebook recently, with she goes into detail of how Facebook programs people. Facebook has basically run psychological tests with their news streams and their news feed, the Facebook feed. They've done psychological, basically, operations on Facebook. So she goes over some of that, which is pretty insightful stuff regarding Facebook.
Yeah, no, she was really well spoken. Obviously, she's in media, and I thought that's going to be a really good clip. And then we got a pretty meaty thing. Are we getting into the meat and potato thing with the race thing after that?
Yeah, CRT. So we're I think we may
this is new to me.
We may do 2 shows on this
we're gonna
Sunday
have to,
and then next Sunday, because it's a pretty big issue that's ongoing. But
it's new to me.
We're just going to go over the basics of critical race theory, its history, its inceptions in law firms in the U.S.
Right.
A brief overview of that, and then this week I'm also going to discuss Department of Justice, the Attorney General, basically asking the Department of Justice to investigate parents who are against CRT being taught in the schools in the U.S. And then also, as I was discussing this with the Canuck, we also looked into, is there a movement for CRT in Canada? And there is. It's just
that's what I got to look into.
The big difference is that the U.S., the media hyper-sensationalizes everything, what have you, and in Canada, it's not everywhere in their media apparatus.
No.
So that's the big difference.
And we're discussing on that note in the United States, you have a lot of shows where the person whose show it is might be Sean Hannity or might be Rachel Maddow, whatever, but it goes on about their opinions a lot. We don't have that in Canada very much. The news broadcasters pretty much just give the news, and we have op-ed type journalists like Rex Murphy and stuff like that, but there's not much on the television. So yeah, and it's a new subject for me, and I'm glad the Yankees made me aware of this theory, because it hasn't really hit the radar to me. I don't watch much opinionated American news. I watch more of the stuff that actually is news. So, but we're going to have to look into it, and we also want to touch upon maybe some of the bigger issues to do with race and the situation with the Indigenous people here, and racism in Canada. It's kind of a complex type of thing because it really exists, but it's really under the radar. It's kind of a sleeping elephant. It's hard to get a grip on, but we're going to talk about issues like that. Not this week. We're just going to touch on the critical race theory this week, guys. It's appetizer, so to speak. But we are going to look into that more in the coming weeks, definitely.
And then we're going to have further updates on La Palma, but I'm going to start out with the first time getting Google Earth Desktop into the stream. I've been messing around with that. It's a really cool app. the Google Earth desktop app. I'm just going to briefly go over all of the active volcanoes in the world right now, and then also updates on La Palma, which is Canary Islands off. It's owned by Spain, and it's off the coast of Western Africa, northwestern Africa. And I'm looking at some good footage of gravity waves coming off of the eruptions at La Palma and the sonic booms. May not be able to find a good sonic boom video, but so I might find one from another volcano. But it's a really intense thing to witness in video.
No
the
kidding.
Gravity waves, you see the gravity waves, and then you hear the boom later.
Yeah, that's like the asteroid or the meteorite that hit here a couple of years ago. 90 seconds after it hit, when the house completely shook. So that's similar. Well, that's part of our. We're going to do one thing at least every week, that's a non-human based story, just so we can think outside. Because humans, as I've noticed, being one, we get so caught up in all the human type things. A lot of times we ignore the fact that we're just a species that happens to exist in a universe that's full of wonder and awesomeness and danger too, of course. And then I guess bizarros. We got some bizarro things. Not much yet. I'm gonna have to dig into that.
We've got one with a kayak. Is it with this?
Yeah,
with
the
a
whale with the
massive
kayak. Yeah, it's huge. My friend Aggie put that on her Facebook thing, and I grabbed it, and that was pretty cool. And that's what I usually do Friday evening. I just meditate upon looking for bizarro news. It's kind of a good break.
It's a hobby, right?
Well, actually, it's right now. It's a hobby, but it's part of the variant news destiny, which is actually more like a mission to me. I'm on a mission, and you're on a mission. We're on a mission, and our mission is to get information to people and in a provocative and entertaining way. And of course, discussing the Canadian view and the American view as best we can possibly represent these huge countries that we live in with all their diversity. But, we try. And I'm glad to be part of the Canuck and Yankee show.
And next week, what will be the updates for Shelter?
Well, Shelter, we're wrapping it up next week. Wrap it up, I'll take it. And we're going to be doing what's going on with the future and what's being done to correct the situation, what's being not done to make the situation worse, some possible remedies, kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly of the future of housing next week. And this week's more just the ugly. Not the ugly, but the reality. This is the reality week of this is where people are living and this is what they're up against, because shelter is a huge component to survival, and it's really challenged right now. And we're just talking about the United States and Canada. If we start talking about the whole world on housing, it would take way too long. But this is a Canadian.
That would take a long time.
Oh my gosh. But it was interesting because last week we did play some clips of people living in huts and stuff like that. So, we'll probably touch upon that next week, of people that live in containers and stuff like that.
And then also what we were discussing earlier with everyone's favorite treasurer in the U.S., Yellen. The whole, and I think that it's basically. I had reported in earlier streams that they were the IRS, Democrats, the infrastructure bills, budget resolution bills. They were trying to get a law in there that will record. At first, we thought with transactions of $600 or more, and now Yellen has come out and clarified that that was misinformation, and that no, they want to be able to record transactions that total more than $600 in an entire year.
Yeah,
that could add up, and it's going to be a really good topic that we discuss not this Sunday, but the Sunday after, because I think it ties into crypto and it ties into the central bank digital currency because they're Yellen and the government are talking about things like this because a central bank digital currency eventually, once the infrastructure is there, the code, the network infrastructure, the digital currency at the federal level, they're going to be able to get really into basically every U.S. citizen's bank account,
right?
Through code, through automation, and so how is that going to unfold? We're just at the very infancy of it, but it's a very interesting
everything's
topic.
Really changing.
Very interesting topic as cryptocurrencies become part of U.S. and Canadian. That's Canuck's going to look at where is Canada with the central bank digital currency, because basically every country on the planet will eventually have one.
Exactly. And even though Canada will probably adopt whatever the United States adopts or their own version of it, but I'm also want to cover. We're going into the government being able to look at bank records, and to the best of my knowledge, the IRS and the CRA, Canadian Revenue Agency, can share bank account information and get access to it. So I'm going to look into that, and also because it's a privacy issue, and so that's next week. So that's it. But this week we got housing, we got live music and recorded music. Everybody loves music, and then we've got my new hero from the Philippines, a woman who just won the Nobel Prize, and then we've got critical race, an update on that, and some Mother Nature and some Bizarro, and that's it.
And I found us finally with the Twitter mobile app, standalone app. I finally found our stream here that we're live now on Twitter Live.
Oh,
but it
hey, Twitter!
It took a little bit. It took a little bit to come up in the results, but it's really strange that Twitter bought Periscope a while back, then they discontinued it. Now they're doing Twitter Live, but they still haven't, they need to connect on your Twitter account when you go live. There needs to be something in the interface. I still haven't seen that. If there's anybody out there in the audience, let us know if you're using Twitter Live, because they're not updating their interface. And the only way I can find when we go live is by actually searching Twitter. And it's very inefficient. And I can't find any information on what Twitter is doing with that, if they're going to do anything in the short term. Who knows?
Right.
But it's working at least.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. We're on all these different platforms, and the technology. Just want to thank all the servers out there for serving us. And
thank
getting
YouTube.
The word out.
Without YouTube, you know what I mean? YouTube is probably the most important platform.
We are on YouTube.
I'm not being facetious,
No,
I say that from.
And we want to.
You know what I mean? From
say
my
hi,
heart.
Mr. YouTube, me too, we all tube for YouTube. Hey, you got a free jingle. There you go. Google that. All right. Well, I guess we should get the heck out of here and let people rest up for the big show, which is happening on Sunday.
Get your beer, your wine. I don't know, whatever.
Yep.
Bring your own beer or something like
cheese snacks, cheese doodles. And if you do want to contact us, please do. Variant-news.com. Contact. That would be wonderful.
I'll put that in the chat, and also the Discord. We got a few more people up on our Discord. So I'm looking at getting a news feed in the Variant News Discord, and possibly having people be able to search right in the Discord.
Nice.
We're moving. For topics you want to learn about. So
into the 21st century with you folks along for the ride.
All right. So we've been going on and on for almost 20 minutes. So I think
let's get out of here
before YouTube takes us out, I think we should just end the stream. You know what I mean?
Ciao. Thanks for listening.
Well, yes.
See you Sunday.
Thanks goes out to everybody out there that has been supporting us. We have
we really appreciate it.
We have Jeff 015 just donated a dime, and wow, thank you. Sweet. On the D Live network, we just got the dime in there.
We love you, D Live. Check it out,
and,
D Live.
I'll be streaming before Sunday. I have some streams that I'll be doing, so check those out. And we'll be streaming Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific.
The Canuck and Yankee Show.
All right, everybody. Later.
Bye. See you Sunday.